Welcome to the American Story. We have released a story every week since Constitution Day 2019, and next week we will release our final episode. I am immeasurably grateful to all of you for your personal notes, words of encouragement, 5-star reviews, generous donations, and for all you have done to share these stories across the country and around the world. Thanks to you, at year's end, we will have 129 evergreen episodes, a collection of stories about the things that make America the country we know and love. We will release our final episode on December 28th. I hope each story contains some beautiful truth about our country that is worth hearing again and again. This is Chris Flannery with the Claremont Institute, wishing you and yours a very Merry Christmas. I call this one Tidings of Great Joy. On the mezzanine floor of the Parker House Hotel in Boston hangs a mirror still today. In the late fall of 1867, this mirror hung in the apartment at the hotel occupied by English novelist Charles Dickens, and he spent hours studying himself in it as he practiced for what would become immensely popular readings of his classic story, A Christmas Carol, which had been circulating in America for 25 years. Dickens gave his first public performance, with great success, on December 2, 1867, at the Tremont Temple in Boston. This was the same temple in which Frederick Douglass and thousands of others had waited for word of Lincoln's Emancipation Proclamation just a few years earlier, in the midst of Civil War. After his Boston readings, Dickens traveled for months as far north as Portland, Maine, inland to Buffalo, New York, south to Washington, D.C., and always back to Boston, performing A Christmas Carol and other stories before enthusiastic audiences. Since that time, Americans have seen Dickens' story adapted in every medium invention can imagine, from the stage to silent films, radio, talking feature films, and animations. There's a Mickey Mouse version, a Fred Flintstone version, and a Muppet version. There have been television musicals, HBO specials, and video games accessible in cloud-based gaming libraries. As was noted in the New York Times back in the 1860s, Dickens brings the old Christmas out of bygone centuries and remote manor houses into the living rooms of the very poor of today. And Dickens' Christmas became an inseparable part of American Christmas. Every year, the elderly miser Ebenezer Scrooge is transformed once again by a visit on Christmas Eve from the ghost of his former business partner, Jacob Marley, and the spirits of Christmases past, present, and yet to come. Every year, Scrooge puts behind him his bah humbug response to Christmas and becomes as good a keeper of Christmas as any man alive, and as good a man as could be found in good old London or any other good old city, town, or borough in the good old world. And every year, Tiny Tim ends the story again. God bless us, every one. At the time of the American founding, celebrations of Christmas in America varied widely, from Puritans and Quakers who shunned or ignored it, to other Protestant sects and Catholics who honored it in their own Christian ways, to those who spent the day in riot and dissipation like an ancient Roman Saturnalia. But E Pluribus Unum, out of many, one, was the American motto on the Great Seal, and over the generations, out of many ways of celebrating or ignoring Christmas, came a recognizably American way. Washington Irving, renowned author of The Legend of Sleepy Hollow and Rip Van Winkle, contributed to this with Christmas sketches he published in 1819, describing the charms of old English Christmases, when all around is joyful and sacred solemnity is blended with mirth and conviviality, where pious worship is joined by revelry, feasting, spiced wine, dancing, caroling, mistletoe, presents, decorations, Yule logs, and a general call to happiness. Irving became a special advocate for St. Nicholas and helped found the St. Nicholas Society in New York. Independently of his efforts, in 1823, the anonymously published poem, A Visit from St. Nicholas, created rhymes and images that became part of American Christmas ever after. 'Twas the night before Christmas, when all through the house not a creature was stirring, not even a mouse. The stockings were hung by the chimney with care, in hopes that St. Nicholas soon would be there. Then what to my wondering eyes did appear but a miniature sleigh and 8 tiny reindeer, with a little old driver so lively and quick, I knew in a moment he must be St. Nick. As years went by, cities grew and commerce flourished. The private celebrations of American Christmas became more public. City, town, and village centers were decorated for the season. Department stores like Macy's and Woolworth found increasing numbers of customers shopping for Christmas gifts. They put on elaborate Christmas displays with lights, decorations, mechanical toys, and live Santas. By 1856, President Franklin Pierce put up the first Christmas tree in the White House. In 1870, President Ulysses S. Grant signed legislation declaring Christmas a federal holiday. In 1923, President Coolidge lit the first national Christmas tree on the Ellipse. Hollywood, of course, joined in the festivities. As America was just getting started in World War II, Bing Crosby, co-starring with Fred Astaire in Holiday Inn, sang Irving Berlin's White Christmas, which went on to become, and remains, the most popular record ever made. The war was no sooner over than Frank Capra gave us the Christmas classic It's a Wonderful Life, about George Bailey, who in his own way needs as much Christmas redemption as Scrooge. The Miracle on 34th Street came out the next year, another Christmas classic. Soon Gene Autry was recording Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer and selling 2 million copies during its first Christmas season. Later generations would get Home Alone and Die Hard. And from Dickens to Die Hard, running through and making possible all these charming and uplifting stories that have become part of American Christmas, is the original Christmas story, which most Americans from the earliest days and even after their revolution would have read in the King James Version, about wise men and a star in the east, and shepherds keeping watch over their flock by night, when the angel of the Lord came upon them, bringing good tidings of great joy, that born this day in the city of David is a Savior, which is Christ the Lord. Thanks for being part of the American story. This is Chris Flannery with the Claremont Institute. God bless you, and God bless America.